So here we are, interview number three. We have with us for this one John James Parangi, who is my Picasso Baby co-curator and was Creative Factory's 2019 Artist of the Year. Hello, John. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, all right.
Could you start off by just telling us a little bit about you and the art you make?
Yeah, so I'm John James Prangi. I'm an artist currently based in Teesside. I've got a studio at the Auxiliary, and I basically make sort of paintings and sculptures out of mostly found objects. A lot of things I find in like charity shops and just like around the town, really. Um,
And so you practice, like you say, it involves a lot of found objects. Um, I know you're from a working class background. Is Why is the found object important to you? Is it the history of the item, or is it something about kind of having to source materials that way? Why is
yeah,
it the found object speaks to you?
Yeah, I really like this idea of like sort of like finding an object that's already been once before used, and then sort of giving it like new life and a new identity. Um, I just love that idea of like that it's been through something and now I'm giving it something else.
So you've been really active over the last year. I've seen you've shown in my own space at Pineapple Black over at the Auxiliary. You've kept really busy. Um, could you tell us about some of the projects that you're working on currently?
Uh, we we currently released the Picasso Baby digital issue, which was released last Sunday. Um, that included loads of artists from Teesside that we've worked with in Picasso Baby. We also released a playlist with that. But I'm currently working on just bits and bobs of my own. So just trying to develop my practice really, as I've just left the Northern School of Art. So I'm just trying to develop my practice further from there.
And how do you feel about that transition now from from being a student, working to a brief, to kind of being out in the world and writing your own briefs and kind of, having to develop your own projects? How do you feel about that transition as you're about to make it?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like obviously during like the 2 years that the 3 years that I've been at uni, I've had quite a few shows and stuff. Like in the last like 2 years that I've been there. But it's really interesting because now like I'm sort of like trying to like sort out my own stuff and sort of propose new ideas to galleries and stuff like that. And it's just really exciting for me. I think I'm really happy. I'm really looking forward to it.
But I think that's the way to approach it, because it can be quite daunting as well.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think, yeah, you've just got to kind of see it as being an exciting kind of thing to kind of figure out and become a part of, I guess. Um, so what do things look like for John James Parangi post lockdown? Are you planning any more exhibitions? Have you got anything lined up in the future?
We've got a few projects. Obviously, we're going to be carrying on with Picasso Baby, and I'm wanting to do a few exhibitions of my own that I've got planned. I'm really interested in the idea of art and fashion and how different mediums can combine with other mediums, and I'm just really interested in sort of doing shows like that and sort of just yeah, just getting my work out there.
It sounds really exciting. So you're an active member of the artist community here in Teesside. How do you feel about that? What do you think of kind of what's going on? Do you think, is the future bright?
Yeah, I love the Teesside art scene. Like everyone here is so welcoming. Everyone's lovely. Like the artists here are like amazing. Even the galleries, everyone's so accepting. And like I think that's the great thing about Teesside. Like there's such solidarity among artists.
It is quite a unique thing, I think, nationally. I know
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
a lot of times there's a snobbishness when you're approaching things, and I think up here kind of people do tend to look for a way to help you, don't they? And a way to
Yeah,
collaborate, and
definitely,
people want to work together. Um,
definitely.
what collaborations would you like to do once things go back to normal? Is there any artists that you're looking forward to working with, or artists that you'd love to reach out to?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of artists that I've like sort of like talked to over lockdown and stuff. Like I've had all this time to just get in contact with people, and like I'd love to work with more artists from Teesside, collaborate with people. Like I'm all about collaboration. I love collaboration. Just yeah, I mean, I'm up for like any artists that are willing to sort of bring a project to me. I'm happy to sort of like get involved with it.
So, speaking then of lockdown, you know, you said you've been quite busy and you've used this time to develop your practice and make connections. It sounds like it's been quite a cathartic experience for you. Um, you know, could you just maybe put into your own words, you know, how you've coped with lockdown and how you're planning on reintegrating back into hopefully a slightly more normal world post
Yeah.
lockdown?
Um, yeah, lockdown's been. I've been I was quite productive at the start of lockdown. I'm making some more stuff now. More based on sort of like clothing. I've been working a lot with clothing. Um, but I think I want to bring these ideas into galleries post lockdown. Um, I worked a lot with household materials during lockdown, obviously because I couldn't get out and that's all I had around me. So I'd like to bring that into a gallery space as well.
I think one of the things I'm seeing across these interviews is that the artists I'm talking to have been really productive in lockdown, and it seems to have energized people. And I'm really excited to see what work you produce and what comes out of this lockdown. And I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on some of those ideas in the future.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you
really
very much for your
excited.
time, and we'll
Thank you.
catch up soon.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.